Just unbelievable. Guys, I've just rewatched the walkout of Chris Eubank Sr. and his son, Chris Eubank, at his fight last month. And it is one of the most epic moments in sporting history, not just boxing history. Today, this is Essentially Sports, and we're going to be unpacking what makes a truly epic walkout in combat sports. To set the scene, in case you didn't know, about 35 years ago, Chris Eubank Sr. fought Nigel Benn. Unbelievable boxing match. Fast forward 35 years, and the sons, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, are fighting at a packed Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Chris Eubank Sr. and his son had not spoken. They were estranged. Chris Eubank Sr. called his son a disgrace. You could see the sadness in his eyes when he spoke about his father. The door was open. He just wanted his dad.
He actually may be now at this stage in his life. You know, he's found God. He's very religious now. So maybe I actually could have this conversation with him, but...
And then came the moment, the build up to the fight, the speculation. Would he be there? And then the car door opens and the commentator says, "He's here!"
Oh, the atmosphere, spine tingling.
It's such a special moment. And then the walkout itself, father and son. It begins with Tina Turner, Simply the Best, an ode to the father. There's a song in between, and then comes the choir in the background, Still Dre, Dr. Dre, one of the coolest hip hop songs and beats of all time. The son's there walking out, standing proud like a lion, his father behind him, and then they enter the ring, and 65,000 fans can tell they're witnessing something very special indeed. Just look at the comments under the video. A lot of fans agreeing. We've all had a father at one time or another. Hopefully most of us still do. We can all relate to that. And after the fight, Conor Benn saying it's bigger than boxing. If this brought them together, then that's more powerful than all of this. I thought that was top class. Now, to wrap up that Chris Eubank Jr. fight, what made it so special, I think, was narrative. To have your walkout be part of the storyline is a key component in having an iconic ring walk. That Chris Eubank walkout goes right to the top of the list under most epic walkouts of all time in combat sports. Guys, comment below. Let me know if you saw it, what you think of it. By the way, when it comes to that Chris Eubank walkout, have you seen Creed? That was real life Creed coming to life. A father and a son brought back together through the love of boxing, putting their differences aside, forgetting about all of the nonsense. Atmosphere. Atmosphere is everything. The reason why the walkout is such a great part of sport is anticipation. And if we want to talk about a walkout that stoked the fires of anticipation like no other, we've got to talk about that man, Conor McGregor. Picture this. We rewind the clock. UFC 189, McGregor versus Mendes. And these were the days when the UFC, MMA, and McGregor were at the absolute peak. This was McGregor mania. The lights go down. Sinead O'Connor, God rest her soul. The green lights appear. The foggy dew rings out in the stadium. You could hear a pin drop. That beautiful voice permeates the arena. While the world did gaze with deep amaze. The atmosphere, my goodness, if you were at that show live, that must have been unbelievable. Dancing, this comes under it as well. In terms of the modern era, you got to give it up to Israel Adesanya. Remember Melbourne. Remember he was fighting Robert Whittaker. And I've got to say, the UFC in the modern era needs to do better in this area. I don't think they have enough iconic walkouts. I don't think they give their fighters enough creative license to do something different, to do something cool. We see way superior walkouts in organizations like KSW, like Rising. The UFC, you need to do better. In this instance, I almost feel like as fans, we just take these grains of creativity when something remotely original happens. Not everyone loved it, but Israel Adesanya's choreographed dancing at least brought a bit of character, brought a bit of energy, a bit of flavor to proceedings, and he put the cherry on top by then going on to knock out Robert Whittaker, bringing it all together to be a memorable spectacle. So dancing can be a crucial element, done right, of a great walkout, and showing who you are, showing your personality. For me personally, on my bucket list as a combat sports journalist was to do my own walkout one day. I had an amateur Muay Thai fight last year, and I wanted to enjoy that moment. I wanted to show who I was. The cliche is always is that you try and go with something really hardcore like heavy metal or hip hop. I went with Madonna's Like a Prayer. My daughter was watching, my wife, my friends were all cheering. Another great walkout on the topic of dancing and showing who you are. Stamp Fairtex at One Championship, the one women's atomweight MMA world champion. This woman has so much personality, and when Stamp is ready to make her walkout, everybody runs to find their seat. You can't miss it. The Stamp dance has become a legendary part of women's MMA. When one went over to the US, one of the biggest pops from the crowd was for Stamp. The woman is a star. She has such an X factor. On this note, you have to give a head nod to Andy Nguyen. You may not have heard of her unless you're a hardcore combat sports fan. But I must say, her walkout to Michael Jackson at Rising, that's one of the coolest walkouts I have ever seen. Check out this clip. Unbelievable. This woman can, just so cool, man. So cool. Andy Nguyen, Michael Jackson, Rising. Those lights, those iconic lights that have been going since back in the Pride days, it just makes you feel I'm in Japan, I'm watching something badass. Andy Nguyen, maximum respect. That was sick. So, great moves, dancing, personality, all key elements of a great walkout. It's not always about a song and a dance to create a great spectacle. Think about Mike Tyson. No music, just a low hum, like a war machine warming up. Black trunks, no socks, just Iron Mike with pure aura, just crazy. Is there anything scarier than a guy who is just unhinged and more powerful than a raging bull? Mike Tyson in his absolute peak. And what about that towel with the hole cut in it? It's just the opposite of a Deontay Wilder in his big walkout suit. Just no frills needed, just pure energy and intensity. That is almost the opposite end of a spectrum from a Stamp or an Andy Nguyen. Just Mike Tyson and pure badassery. One of the greatest walkouts ever. Just Iron Mike being Iron Mike. And sometimes that's all you need. Just you, who you truly are, and raw intensity. Do you know what I mean? I mentioned Deontay Wilder, so let's mention Deontay Wilder. Bomb Squad! That guy's a huge character, and the man wore a huge suit for his fight with Tyson Fury. This, I think, was super cool. It was just so Wilder. Do you know what I'm saying? Full armored suit, 40 pounds of pure drama. He blamed the loss on the suit, which is just wild in terms of excuse making. It's like, dude, you chose to do it. At the time, I just thought, good Lord, that is a cool suit. I applaud it. I thought it was brilliant. Just don't then blame your loss on the suit. There's no room for harking back to the walkout after the fact. You know what I mean? The walkout is the walkout. The fight is the fight. But I do actually think that suit was so awesome. And Deontay Wilder does have some of the best walkouts in boxing history, as does his rival Tyson Fury. The guy is a pure showman. He always shows his character, shows exactly who he is. Now, we mentioned Andy Nguyen at Rising, and we cannot talk about Japan and walkouts without mentioning the great Genki Sudo, a true master of the walkout. Remember the We Are All One? Dude, this man is a showman. Have you seen some of his dances, some of his music videos? He's magnetic. You cannot take your eyes off him. Every time Genki Sudo was to do a walkout, you knew it was must-see TV. And that's what I'm talking about. You don't always have to be the greatest fighter on the planet. But people are buying tickets. They want to be entertained. That's one thing that we love about combat sports, or certainly I do. Guys, Genki Sudo is a pure entertainer and one of the best to ever do it. when it comes to walkouts. Dancers, signs, masks, this guy had the lot. A showman if ever I've seen one. And on the topic of walkouts out in Japan, my man Jason Mayhem Miller, an absolute madman, one of the biggest characters and personalities in the history of the game. This guy knew how to rock a decent walkout. Remember the one with the Japanese schoolgirls at Pride? Dude, Jason Mayhem Miller, big personality and a born entertainer. So I think in terms of our list of what makes a great walkout, have we already said personality? I think backup dancers, backup choirs, go as big as possible. Costumes, paraphernalia, extras, the whole nine. Showmanship, theatre, this is what we're looking for. To bring this to a close, I'm going to talk about one of the most emotional walkouts I've ever witnessed and one of the most powerful moments in the history of the sport. The Korean Zombie. He walks out to the Cranberries Zombie, because why wouldn't he? One of the best rock songs ever, and he knew he was going to retire. He was fighting Max Holloway in Singapore in the main event. He walks out, it's already powerful. You can already tell he's drinking it in. He gets knocked out badly, knocked out cold by Max Holloway. Leaves his gloves in the ring. His wife's there, he's crying, and then give the DJ a raise. Bam, he puts on Zombie. In Singapore, the live crowd, they're not known for being the best live crowd in the world, to be fair. But that night, they did themselves justice. They were on their feet. Thousands of people at the Singapore Indoor Arena. Goosebumps, everybody standing, singing Zombie at the top of their lungs. And that sums up for me what a great walkout is. It's showing who you are. It's spectacle. It is raw. It is emotional. It is about striking that chord between the audience and the protagonist. It is about making people feel something, bringing the anticipation to fever pitch. Those are the key components, in my opinion, of a key walkout. Guys, what do you think? It's been such a pleasure to do this video. I hope you can feel my passion for the topic. The walkout, there's just nothing like it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for joining us. This has been Andrew Whitelaw for Essentially Sports, and we'll see you at the next one.